please, ready? Who is? Okay. Okay, let's get Kay's. We're on the record in cause number 326-356. The case is styled the state of Texas versus Caden Christopher Hayes. We have Mr. Hayes appearing via Zoom. Mr. Hayes, you could take your mic off of mute.
How you doing, Judge Holmes?
I'm doing fine. Thanks for asking. Mr. Hayes, you're represented by Mr. John Macy. Mr. Macy, how are you doing?
I'm fine, Your Honor.
Mr. Macy, you have an announcement you'd like to make in Mr. Hayes' case?
I do, Your Honor. He had been previously approved for pretrial diversion, and then he had an issue and they kicked him off. But my understanding is that that case has been dismissed, and I talked with Ms. Molfino this morning, and she said that she would consider possibly reapproving him for pretrial if I send her another letter. So I'd ask for a reset to allow me to do that, Judge.
Okay, reset it. This is Caden Hayes. Reset him for the second week in August, because I think the sign-up date is the first week in August.
Thank you, Judge.
Okay. Mr. Hayes. What day?
Yes, sir.
Hold on. Okay, your case is going to be reset to August 9th of 2021. Mr. Hayes, just stay in contact with your attorney and your bondsman. This will conclude your case. You're free to go, and you have a blessed day.
All right. Thank you.
Charles Bell. We're on the record in cause number 324-782. The case is styled the state of Texas versus Charles Bell. Mr. Bell, would you please raise your right hand? Mr. Bell, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God? Okay, you may put your hand down. How are you doing, Mr. Bell?
Pretty good.
I'm doing fine. Thanks for asking. Mr. Bell, I have before me an information that alleges that on or about August 4th of 2019, while you were in Jefferson County, Texas, that you committed the Class A misdemeanor offense of driving while intoxicated with an alcohol concentration of 0.15 or more. Mr. Bell, do you understand what you've been charged with?
Yes.
And to this charge, Mr. Bell, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, no contest?
No contest.
Now, Mr. Bell, are you pleading no contest freely and voluntarily? And are you pleading no contest because you do not wish to fight or contest the charges? You have to speak up, she's taking a record. Mr. Bell, I have before me a document that is titled a misdemeanor plea admonishments. Do you recognize this document?
Yes.
On page 2 of the same document, Mr. Bell, there are a set of initials on the line next to a box that's checked nolo contendere, which means no contest. Are these your initials?
Yes.
On page 3 of the same document, Mr. Bell, there's a signature above the line that's titled defendant. Is that your signature?
Yes.
And on the next document, which is the trial court certification, the defendant's right of appeal, Mr. Bell, there's a signature below the line that's titled, above the line that's titled defendant. Is that your signature?
Yes.
There are two boxes that's checked at the top of this document. The first box checked states that this is a plea bargain case and you have no right of appeal. Do you understand that?
Yes.
The second box states that you're waiving your right to appeal, which means that you're giving up your right to an appeal. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Certification, Your Honor.
Okay. Mr. Bell, I have before me a document that is titled the discovery certification. Mr. Bell, do you recognize this document?
Yes.
And is that your signature on the line that says defendant?
Yes.
Okay, now, Mr. Bell, prior to signing and initialing these documents, did your attorney go over these documents with you? And did you read and understand everything in these documents?
Yes.
And is everything in these documents true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Yes.
State, I have before me State's Exhibit number 1. State, you would also like to offer State's Exhibit number 2, the probable cause affidavit?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, do you have any
No
objections?
objection to States 1 or States 2.
Okay, no objection. State's Exhibits number 1 and 2 are admitted. Mr. Paget, you've advised and counsel, Mr. Bell, is there any evidence that he is currently mentally incompetent to stand trial?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Bell, your attorney, Mr. Paget, has advised and counseled you. Are you satisfied with his representation?
Yes.
Has he provided full, effective, and competent legal representation?
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Bell, I will accept your plea of no contest. I will find that you are mentally competent to stand trial. I will also find that your plea of no contest and waivers were freely and voluntarily given. I will also find that there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. State, do we have a plea bargain agreement?
Yes, Your Honor.
What is that agreement?
The terms of that agreement are 90 days jail, probated for 1 year, $750 fine, plus court costs, 60 hours community service.
That's 60 hours of community service?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
And then DWI education course, drug and alcohol assessment,
Okay.
and the ignition interlock device.
Okay. Okay, Mr. Bell,
Yes.
the state is offering that you serve 90 days in the Jefferson County Jail. However, you will not have to serve any time in the Jefferson County Jail on this case because you'll be placed on probation for 1 year. During the 1 year probationary period, you'll be required to pay a fine of $750 plus court costs, and the total fine and court cost is $1,157. You'll also be required to pay a probation fee of $60 each month, a urinalysis fee of $15 each month. You will be required to pay the Jefferson County DWI education class and initial evaluation fee of $125 on the day of the plea. Should a further evaluation be needed, you will be required to pay an additional $50. Now, the total monthly installments that you would have to pay per month is $125. Mr. Bell, would you be able to pay the $125 each month?
Yes.
Now, you will also be required to perform 60 hours of community service, attend a DWI education class and have a drug and alcohol assessment. And you will be required to install a DWI interlock device on any vehicle that you own or operate. And you will also have to adhere to the other standard terms and conditions of your probation. Mr. Bell, do you understand the state's offer?
Yes.
And do you think that the state's offer in your case is fair and just?
Yes.
And do you accept the state's offer?
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Bell, I'll follow the plea bargain agreement that you have entered into with the state. Mr. Bell, please stand on the X next to your attorney and follow the directions of our court clerk. And once you finish following her directions, you'll be free to go, and you have a blessed day. Okay, we're on the record in cause number 327-782. The case is styled the state of Texas versus Rigoberto Pineda Jr. Is that your full name?
Yes, sir.
How you doing, Mr. Pineda?
Doing good.
That's good. Mr. Pineda, you're here represented by your attorney, Mr. Canales. How you doing?
Yes, Your Honor, this is, I'm Derek Reyna from the Reyna Law Firm. I'm subbing in for Rick Canales today.
Okay, your name again?
Derek Reyna,
How you spell the last name?
Reyna.
Okay, Derek.
Reyna.
Okay. Okay. Now, Mr. Rayner, how are you doing?
Doing great, Your Honor. How about yourself?
I'm doing fine. Thanks for asking. Mr. Pineda, your attorney, Mr. Canales, is not here today, and Mr. Attorney Rayner is substituting in for Mr. Canales. Do you have any objections to Mr. Rayner substituting in for Mr. Canales?
No, sir.
Okay. Now, Mr. Pineda, would you please raise your right hand? Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you may put your hand down. Mr. Pineda, I have before me an information that alleges on or about August 9th of 2020, while you were in Jefferson County, Texas, that you committed a Class B misdemeanor offense of driving while intoxicated with an alcohol concentration, driving while intoxicated with an open container. Mr. Pineda, do you understand what you've been charged with?
Yes, sir.
And to discharge, Mr. Pineda, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
Guilty?
Now, you pleading guilty freely and voluntarily?
Yes, sir.
And are you pleading guilty because you're guilty?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, now, Mr. Pineda, I have before me a document that is titled the Misdemeanor Plea Admonishment. It's also referred to as State's Exhibit Number 1. Now, Mr. Pineda, here I need to make a change on this document. And the change, because it's a, okay, now, Mr. Pineda, I made a change on this document. I'll just explain to you that, check it off on this box, and I'll just read to you, and the change was in reference to the punishment range. It says it's a DWI first. Here it's gonna be with an open container. So the range of punishment is Class B misdemeanor, confinement in jail for 6 days, but not more than 180 days, a fine not to exceed $2,000 or both such fine and confinement. And that's because it's a open container. The minimum is 6 days instead of 72 hours, okay? And I've initialed this document to show that I made that change on the document. Do you understand that? All right. Now, Mr. Pineda, do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now on page 2 of this same document, Mr. Pineda, there are a set of initials above the line that's titled, well, next to the line that's titled guilty. Are these your initials?
Yes, sir. They're my initials.
And on page 3 of this same document, Mr. Pineda, there's a signature above the line that's titled defendant. Is that your signature?
Yes, sir.
And on the next document, which is the trial court certification of defendant's right of appeal, do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
Is this your signature above the line that's titled defendant?
Sir.
There are 2 boxes that's checked at the top of this document. The first box states that this is a plea bargain case and you have no right of appeal. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
The second box states that you're waiving, which means you're giving up your right to an appeal. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
You have that discovery certification?
Yes, I do, Your Honor.
I have another document here, Mr. Pineda, that's titled the discovery certification. Do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
Is that your signature above the line that's titled defendant?
Yes, sir.
Now, Mr. Pineda, prior to signing and initialing all of these documents that I've just mentioned, did your attorney, Mr. Rayner, go over these documents with you?
Yes, sir.
And did you read and understand everything in these documents?
Yes, sir.
And is everything in these documents true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, sir.
State, I have before me State's Exhibit Number 1. State, you like to offer State's Exhibit Number 1?
Yes, Your Honor.
Any objections? Mr. Rayner?
No objections. Your Honor.
Okay, no objections. states exhibit number 1 will be admitted. Mr. Rainey, you've advised that counsel, Mr. Pineda, is there any evidence that he is currently mentally incompetent to stand trial?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Pineda, your attorney, Mr. Rayner, has advised and counseled you. Are you satisfied with his representation?
Yes, sir.
Has he provided full, effective, and competent legal representation?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and your original attorney, Mr. Canales, has advised and counseled you as well. Are you satisfied with his representation?
Yes, sir.
Has he provided full, effective, and competent legal representation?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Mr. Pineda, I will accept your plea of guilty. I will find that you are mentally competent to stand trial. I will also find that your plea of guilty and waivers were freely and voluntarily given. I will also find that there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. State, do we have a plea bargain agreement?
Yes, Your Honor.
And what is that agreement?
It's for 90 days probated over 1 year, a $1,000 fine, 60 hours community service, a drug and alcohol assessment, and DWI education class.
Okay, Mr. Pineda, the state is offering that you serve 90 days in Jefferson County Jail. However, you not have to serve any time in the Jefferson County Jail on this case because you'll be on probation for 1 year. During the 1 year probationary period, you'll be required to pay a fine of $1,000 plus court costs of $422, which comes to a total of fine and court costs of $1,422. You will also be required to pay a probation fee of $60 each month, a urinalysis fee of $15 each month. You will be required to pay the Jefferson County DWI education class and initial evaluation fee of $125 on the day of the plea. Should a further evaluation be needed, you'll be required to pay an additional $50. Your total monthly installments for this offense, Mr. Pineda, is $205 per month. Would you be able to pay the $205 per month?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Mr. Pineda, you will be required to perform 60 hours of community service, attend and complete the DWI education course, and have a drug and alcohol assessment. And you will also be required to adhere to the other standard terms and conditions of probation. Mr. Pena, do you understand the state's offer?
Yes, sir.
I mean, Mr. Panada, do you understand the state's offer?
Yes, sir.
And do you accept the state's offer?
Yes, sir.
And do you think that the state's offer in your case is fair and just?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Mr. Panada, I will follow the plea bargain agreement that you have entered into with the state. Mr. Panada, please stand on the X next to your attorney. I'm gonna follow the directions of the clerk. Yeah, yeah. Okay, just follow the directions of the clerk. And once you follow the directions of the clerk, you'll be free to go. And you have a blessed day. And Attorney Rainey, you have a blessed day as well. He's, Mr., you're gonna have to sign off. She has something for you to sign too. Derek Rainey?
Derek. BEREK.
Law.
Yeah. Holly Smith,
Holly Smith, see ya.
is she here?
Holly, Miss Smith. Come on up.
Is that?
That's her, Your Honor. She's been, her children were sick last night, so she's been up all night. No, step back on the exit.
Julie or Daniel, one of y'all come to the courtroom?
I'll be right down, Your Honor.
Okay.
Something like this way.
Oh, I didn't see you. Okay. Never mind. Okay, you can stand right there. Okay, now, Mr. Yeah, Bond. Okay, now your full name is Holly Nicole Smith?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Ms. Smith, you're here with your attorney, Mr. James Paget?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, Ms. Smith, how are you doing?
All right, how you doing?
Okay, and I'm doing fine, thanks for asking. And Mr. Paget, again, how are you
I'm
doing?
doing well, Your Honor. Thank you.
Now, Mr. Smith, excuse me, Mr. Paget,
Yes, Your Honor.
you have an announcement you'd like to make in Ms. Smith's case?
We're gonna stay on the trial docket. Our announcement will stay the same, Your Honor.
Okay. Okay, now, okay, we're gonna give her a trial date. Mr. Sure.
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, Miss Smith, you stated that you were up late. I'm just a little concerned.
She wasn't late.
No, she
I
said
just
she
went
was
to the
up,
bathroom.
she
I've
said
been
she was
out
up
Went to the
late.
bathroom.
I was in bed after since 8 o'clock. I went to the bathroom and he texted me, he was like, they called your name, and I was like, right when I went to the bathroom, like literally.
No, he wants to know why you're so tired.
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out whether if
Last
it's,
night, my son got a stomach virus and he was throwing up literally all night last night. And then my daughter, she had got like I don't know if it's a piece of glass or something like that in her eye, and we were in the hospital the night before that. So we didn't get home until about 4 o'clock that morning for that. And then he got a stomach virus and I've been up
she don't.
all night with him and I have not been asleep. I got about 30 minutes last night.
Okay. The reason why I was asking, I was just a little concerned whether or not it could be drugs or something like that, because,
No, sir.
I just see, I know you have some bond conditions that, that's what I see on the docket sheet. Does she have bond conditions?
Mm-mm.
It says something about bond conditions faxed.
Only thing I gotta do is call.
What is that?
Every Monday.
If she was in jail, then you ordered the bond conditions for the fact.
Was there anything? Did you see anything? Just so, I'm just looking at the notes on the,
I could pull it out.
I've never known her to sound any different than what you hear her.
well,
talking
No,
about
they're
right
not
now.
in
why do you have a note on here saying bond?
here. Oh, yes, they are. They are.
Okay, what, just print that off. What it says? Is that AANA?
That's
No,
an
that's not-
AA
that's not cool.
and a meeting
Okay,
2 times a week and provide 3.
okay, okay. Okay.
Me too.
For some, I mean, we put it in there for some reason. This hand is here to, Ms. Smith. I'm looking at some bond conditions. It says she should attend AANA meetings 2 times a week and provide proof to the court. And that was given to her back on November 13th.
I was just talking about alcohol.
No. Just, what we're saying is those bond conditions that that was given to you back in November, used to, go to AANA meetings or attend AANA meetings. That's what it says on the bond conditions. 2 times a week and provide proof to the court. Just by the look on your face, I would imagine you didn't go.
I mean, I've paid them off, I've talked to them once a week.
No,
or-
no, I think you got it, you look confused.
I do go, I
No,
do
no,
get
no,
that piece of paper.
okay. The bond conditions is what's issued by the court. I think you're talking about your bondsman.
Yeah,
Your bondsman, that's totally different. I'm not talking about that.
okay.
I'm talking about while you are out on bond,
Mhm.
the court stated that there are certain things that you cannot do, things that you are required to do.
That's fine.
And that's what you have in your hand is the bond conditions that was given out back in November 13 of 2020. And a condition number 5 states that you used to attend AANA meetings 2 times a week and provide proof to the court on your attendance.
Okay.
Okay.
Do I need a piece of paper or something?
So what I'm saying is that was given back in November. And what my policy is, once I give those out, I read them to you, give you a copy. And then we expect that you adhere to those bond conditions. But what I'm hearing from you, and I could be wrong, is that you probably didn't attend the AANA meetings. Is that correct?
Well, I haven't talked to you, but no, I didn't attend them. I didn't attend them. I didn't. do anything.
November the 13th.
I don't remember, I don't recall us standing
Do
here getting bond conditions.
Could you,
I don't think
Could
we
you,
ever stood up
Do
here.
we have,
look and see what
I don't
day was
recall.
that was November the 13th of 2020?
Yeah.
Yes.
Was I?
What, that was I guess in the file it shows when the case was reset. Was the case, was she pro se at that time or what was she?
In 2020 in November, was on the case.
That might have been before you were on, I don't know.
No, James was hired October 27th, 2020.
That's right.
Okay.
With the week.
And see, what happened, those bond conditions were faxed to the jail. She
Oh,
bonded out
I know we
November
don't think
13th.
Oh, okay.
Received bond.
Okay,
But when
okay.
said-
okay. I see what you're saying. Okay. I think what happened is this. We probably set the bond here. And then when I set the bond, I sent the bond over to the jail with bond conditions. And either they didn't give it to you while you was at the jail, or you bonded out before they was able to give it, one of the two.
Yes, sir. He was waiting on me to.
Okay.
I bonded then, I mean, I went in and.
Okay,
bonded out.
but it had to be something in the PC or something for me to put bond conditions on you. Now, what we're gonna do,
I mean, I understand.
okay, I understand. Okay, now this is what we're gonna do. You're gonna be required to adhere to those bond conditions. You gotta go to AANA meetings. I don't know if they're gonna do it on Zoom. I don't know how they do it these days. But anyway, I think there's a form that they give you where you sign to say that you've been attending. And you bring, every time you come back to court, you bring that form with you. It's gonna have the date you went, it's signed and everything, okay?
They're probably not gonna give that to you. You need to take a piece of notebook paper in there with you, and there's a sponsor, and you get.
We used to
a date
have
and a
that.
time and their initials. Well, they might use, but, I mean, it's not a problem. You just take a notebook in there, and a sponsor will date it.
Uh-huh,
And date
Your
it,
Honor.
put the time.
yes,
Right now, especially with a lot of AA meetings taking place over Zoom, usually if you contact the chairman of the meeting, they will keep that information and send it to you as needed.
And we'll talk about
okay,
it, just not.
okay. So Ms. Smith, what I just was informed is that the way it is now, because everything is over Zoom, they keep that information, the organization.
Sponsor.
The
There'll be a
sponsor.
Sponsor at every.
Right, they keep that information and we can, the court can contact them
Well, I
to-
bring a piece of paper so I'll still make sure, you know.
Okay, well, you can keep your own records. I understand. You want to make sure you protect yourself.
Yes, sir.
But what I'm saying is, we're going to send we're gonna contact them.
I don't know how, I mean, all the.
Well,
meetings
she
are
needs,
all-
she needs
you'd
to
have
let us
find
know,
one internet.
well, she needs to let us know who she is,
Your Honor, I think they provided to the defendant to provide to the court.
Okay.
Electronically.
okay,
Closest thing I have is Bridge City.
okay, yeah, I mean, they got a whole bunch of places. I mean, yeah, you could just look, but
Every
you,
neighborhood.
yeah, okay, but you're gonna have to provide us with that is, make sure that you attend those meetings. Now, if you don't attend those meetings, your bond could be revoked and you could be put in jail. Okay,
Okay.
all right, okay, now, I see, for some reason, you didn't get it in November, for some reason. I don't know, it was faxed to the jail just didn't give you that copy, okay. Now, did you, Mr. Paget, did you get your reset?
Not yet, Your Honor, but I will.
Okay.
Make sure Ms. Smith gets it.
You gonna keep it on the trial docket?
Yes, Your Honor.
You want it the same date with the other trials,
That's fine, Your Honor, whatever pleases
December
the court.
6th? Now, State, you have any objections?
No objection.
Okay, to, the bond conditions, making sure that, you adhere to those bond conditions, okay?
That's the only thing I need to do.
No, you got,
No, I'm saying. as far
You know
as the
what?
AA and stuff, that's
let me
it.
do this here. Give me a copy of that. Let me go, the bond conditions. Just go ahead on.
Just tell me to talk to me.
Now, basically, Miss, let's do this here. I can just go over it right quick, right? Okay. The bond conditions saying following arrest and or accusation in County Court of Law to all bond conditions executed for release of defendant named here or others subject to the following conditions. Number one, defendant shall commit no offense against the laws of this state, any other state, or against the United States. Do you understand that condition? Condition number two, the defendant shall submit to testing for drugs and alcohol at any time as directed by the court, and the court may revoke the bond and order the arrest of any defendant who A, refuses to submit to a test for drugs and alcohol when directed to do so by the court, or B, submit to a test for drugs and alcohol, and the test indicates the presence of drugs and alcohol in the defendant's body. Do you understand that condition? And condition number three, defendant shall not communicate either directly or indirectly with the alleged victim of the pending offense, and the defendant shall not go near any resident, school, or other location frequented by the alleged victim. Do you understand that condition?
Yes, sir.
And the final condition is you shall attend AANA meetings 2 times a week and provide proof to the court. Do you understand that condition? Now, you fail to obey these bond conditions, the bond will be revoked, and you'll be arrested and put in jail. You understand that?
Sir.
Okay, so get your reset from your attorney. Once you get your reset, you'll be free to go. You have a blessed day. And Mr. Patch, you have a blessed day as well. Dominique Grayson. Who is Bruce Smith? He's not here. Okay. Just have a seat. Your attorney is not here. Evelyn Marie Ford.
Evelyn Ford.
Just get Ms. Smith, his client who just left out. We're on the record in cause number 324296. The case is styled the state of Texas versus Evelyn Marie Ford. Ms. Ford, would you please raise your right hand? Mr. Ford, would you please, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
You may put your hand down.
Mr. Paget had to go to drug court. Too.
Oh, okay,
I mean, not 2 weeks ago.
okay. Let's see, Ms. Ford. Okay, your full name is Evelyn Marie Ford, is that correct?
Correct.
How you doing, Ms. Ford?
Doing all right.
That's good. Now, Ms. Ford, you're here represented by your attorney, Mr. Mr. Alan Parker. And Mr. Parker, how are you doing?
Fine, Judge.
Okay, Mr. Parker, or Ms. Ford, I have before me an information that alleges that on or about July 14th of 2019, while you in Jefferson County, Texas, operating a motor vehicle in a public place, that you committed the Class A misdemeanor offense of driving while intoxicated. Second, Ms. Ford, do you understand what you've been charged with?
Yes.
Now, Ms. Ford, this information further alleges that prior to the commission of this offense, that on August 22nd of 2012, in County Court Law Number 2, Jefferson County, Texas, and cause number 292132, that you was convicted of the misdemeanor offense of driving while intoxicated, and that conviction became final prior to the commission of this offense. Is that true?
Yes.
Okay. Now, to the charge of driving while intoxicated, second, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
No contest.
Now, you pleading no contest freely and voluntarily?
Yes.
And are you pleading no contest because you do not wish to fight or contest the charges?
Yes.
Okay, Ms. Ford, I have before me a document that is titled the misdemeanor plea admonishment. Do you recognize this document?
We signed it home.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And this document is also labeled State's Exhibit No. Now, are these your initials
Yes.
on this document on the
Yes.
line that's titled no contingent, which means no contest?
Yes, sir.
And on the next document, Ms. Ford, excuse me, the same document, Ms. Ford, above the line that's titled defendant, is that your signature?
Yes, sir.
And Ms. Ford, I also have another document just titled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Right of Appeal. Do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
Is that your signature on the line that's titled defendant?
Yes, it is.
There are two boxes that's checked at the top of this document. The first box states that this is a plea bargain case. You have no right of appeal. You understand that?
Yes, sir.
Second box states that you're waiving or giving up your right to appeal. Do you understand that?
Yes.
You had a discovery certification.
I gave it to you. I don't have the printout. They have the print. I gave you the.
Oh, here it is. Okay, yeah, that attached. Ms. Ford, I also have another document that's titled the discovery certification. You recognize this document?
Yes. Yes.
And is that your signature on the line that says defendant?
Yes, it is.
Now, Ms. Ford, prior to signing and initialing these documents, did your attorney go over these documents with you?
Yes, sir.
And did you read and understand everything in these documents?
Pretty much. Pretty much.
Okay. Okay, you say pretty much. I mean, did you read and understand everything in the?
Yeah.
Let me ask my question again. Did you read and understand everything in these documents?
Okay, yes, sir.
And is everything in these documents true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, sir.
Okay. State, I have before me State's Exhibit number 1. State, you also like to offer State's Exhibit number 2, the probable cause affidavit?
Yes, Your Honor.
No objection.
Okay, no objection. State's Exhibits number 1 and 2 are admitted. Mr. Parker, you advised and counseled Ms. Ford is there any evidence that she's currently incompetent to stand trial?
No, Your Honor.
Ms. Ford, your attorney, Mr. Parker, has advised and counseled you. Are you satisfied with his representation?
Yes, sir.
Has he provided full, effective, and competent legal representation?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Ms. Ford, I will accept your plea of no contest. I will find that you are mentally competent to stand trial. I will also find that your plea of no contest and waivers were freely and voluntarily given. I will also find that there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. State, do we have a plea bargain agreement?
Yes, sir.
Yes, Your Honor. The terms of that agreement is 72 hours jail up front. It's 1 year probated for 18 months, a $500 fine, 100 hours community service, DWI education course, drug and alcohol assessment, and the ignition interlock device.
And upfront jail times to start on this Friday, Judge, 25th, at 6 p.m.
What day is that starting?
June 25th, Friday, 6 p.m. Or by 6 p.m.
Ms. Ford, the state is offering that you serve, they have 365 days in Jefferson County Jail, which is 1 year. However, this time will be probated for 18 months. So you'll be on probation for 18 months. During the 18-month probationary period, you'll be required to pay a fine of $500 plus court costs of $407. And you'll be required to pay a probation fee of $60 each month, the urinalysis fee of $15 each month, pay a Jefferson County DWI education class and initial evaluation fee of $125 on the day of the plea. Should a further evaluation be needed, you'll be required to pay an additional $50. The total monthly installments that you'll be required to pay for this offense is $130 per month. Ms. Ford, would you be able to pay the $130 each month?
Yes, sir.
You will also have to perform 100 hours of community service, attend a DWI education class, and have a drug and alcohol assessment, attend DWI intervention, install an interlock device on any vehicle that you own or operate, and you would have to serve 72 hours in the Jefferson County Jail, you know, I had a term on, beginning beginning at 6 p.m. on June 25th of 2021. And you would also be required to adhere to the other standard terms of your probation. Ms. Ford, do you understand the state's offer?
Yes, sir.
And do you think that the state's offer is fair and just?
Yeah.
And do you accept the state's offer?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I just made that note, you're gonna have to say what time,
Oh,
it's
it goes
the
on
day and time
it
that
goes
it
on
starts.
commitment.
Okay. Now, Ms. Ford, I'll follow the plea bargain agreement that you've entered into with the state. Ms. Ford, stand on the X next to your attorney. You're gonna follow the directions of the clerk. Once you follow the directions of the clerk, you'll be free to go and you have a blessed day.
Thank you.
And you're welcome. And Mr. Parker, you are free to go as well and you have a blessed day.
I'm gonna retype that real quick and put that on.
Does anybody? Oh, okay. Hope. Who is Hope? Hope. Oh, that's his.
Ms. Ford, I'm gonna go ahead and get your right thumbprint on that blue light. Remove it and put it back down for me. You don't need to.
Yeah, put your already lay it down on there.
Thank you. You can remove it. Okay, and this one, I'm gonna need to get your right thumbprint, or not right thumbprint, your signature on that signature pad. And then Mr. Parker, if I could get yours as well. And then Ms. Ford, raise your right hand. Do you swear that you have been convicted or given a certificate of conviction or regular probation for a felony or misdemeanor in this or any other state? And you have no conviction charges. Here, Judge, would you like to look at the updated copy?
Okay,
No, not on it.
okay.
So, for the attack,
Jacoby Hope,
That's for you to bring to the jail when you're reporting for your signature.
I'll tell you, Evelyn.
we're on the record in cause number 326-860, case of style, the state of Texas versus Jacoby Deontay Hope. Is that your full name?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Hope, would you please raise your right hand? Mr. Hope, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Mr. Hope, you may put your hand down. Mr. Hope, how you doing?
I'm doing fine. How you doing, man?
I'm doing fine. Thanks for asking. Mr. Hope, you're here represented by your attorney, Antoine Freeman. Mr. Freeman, how you doing?
Good, John. How are you?
I'm doing fine. Mr. Hope, the information in this case alleges that on or about May 11 of 2019, while you were in Jefferson County, Texas, that you committed the Class B misdemeanor offense of possession of marijuana. Do you understand what you've been charged with?
Yes, sir.
And to this charge, Mr. Hope, how do you plead guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
No content?
No, you pleading no contest freely and voluntarily?
Yes, sir.
And are you pleading no contest because you do not wish to fight or contest the charges?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Mr. Hope, I have before me a document that is titled the misdemeanor plea admonishments. Do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir. I just signed.
On page 2 of the same document, Mr. Hope, are these your initials on the line that's titled "Nola Contendere" means no contest?
Yes, sir.
On the next page of the same document, Mr. Hope, there's a signature at the top above the line that's titled defendant. Is that your signature?
Yes, sir.
There's another document here that's titled the trial court certification, the defendant's right of appeal. Do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
Is that your signature above the line that's titled defendant?
Yes, sir.
There's 2 boxes that's checked at the top of this document. The first box states that this is a plea bargain case and you have no right of appeal. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
The second box states that you're waiving, which means you're giving up your right to appeal. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Also, Mr. Hope, I have another document here. This document is titled the discovery certification. You recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
Is that your signature on this document above the line that's titled defendant?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
We don't have the exhibit, Your Honor.
The state is gonna provide the exhibit.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, Mr. Hope. Prior to signing and initialing all of these documents that I just mentioned, did your attorney go over these documents with you?
Yes, sir.
And did you read and understand everything in these documents?
Yes, sir.
And is everything in these documents true and correct to the best of your knowledge? State, I have before me State's Exhibit Number 1, the misdemeanor plea admonishment. State, you also like to offer State's Exhibit Number 2, the probable cause affidavit?
Yes, Your Honor.
Any-
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, no objection. State's Exhibits Number 1 and 2 are admitted. Mr. Freeman, you've advised and counseled Mr. Hope. Is there any evidence that he is currently mentally incompetent to stand trial?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Hope, your attorney, Mr. Freeman has advised and counseled you. Are you satisfied with his representation?
Yes, sir.
Has he provided full, effective, and competent legal representation?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Hope, I will accept your plea of no contest. I will find that you are mentally competent to stand trial. I will also find that your plea of no contest and waivers were freely and voluntarily given. I will also find that there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. State, do we have a plea bargain agreement?
Yes, Your Honor. It was a $375 fine plus court cost.
Okay. Now, Mr. Hope, the state is offering that you pay a $370 fine plus court costs in this case, and the court costs, the fine and court costs comes to a total of $662. Mr. Hope, would you be able to pay that today?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, Mr. Hope, do you understand the state's offer?
Yes, sir.
Do you think that the state's offer in your case is fair and just?
Oh, yes, sir.
Do you accept the state's offer?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Mr. Hope, I'll follow the plea bargain agreement that you have entered into with the state. Mr. Hope, please stand on the X next to your attorney and follow the instructions of our court clerk. Once you finish following those instructions, you'll be free to go. They'll tell you where to go. You need to make that payment. Stand on the X and you have a blessed day.
Thank you, too.
I just need your right thumbprint on that blue light.
Is this your only one? Is this your only one?
We haven't, I don't think we've done this one yet.
No, I'm just sitting it, that's why I'm sitting it there. His attorney's not here, right? We're on the record in cause number 327-888, cause number 327-960. Both cases are styled the state of Texas versus Jaden Joseph.
Yes, sir.
Is that your full name?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Joseph, how you doing?
I'm good, sir. You?
I'm doing fine. Mr. Joseph, Mr. Joseph, you're here represented by your attorney, Mr. Todd LeBlanc. Mr. LeBlanc, how are you doing?
Good, Judge. Thanks, sir.
Hold on a minute. Does he have bond condition? Mr. Joseph he has two cases on the pretrial conference plea docket. Mr. LeBlanc, what is your announcement on this case?
Judge, I think currently my announcement
announcement stays the same. However, I think it's because something will get worked out probably by next time. We've gone over this discovery. I've got it. I just need to get with Mr. Boyd, to see if we can modify the offer somewhat. I think
Okay.
something will work out. If you can just give it a regular reset, that'd be fine.
Okay, okay. Mr. Joseph, we're gonna give you some, see, you don't have any bond conditions. Apparently you got 2 unlawfully carrying a weapon. Oh, you got bond, you gonna get some bond conditions, okay? Now, the bond conditions is thing that you cannot do, while you're on bond. Things you can and cannot do while you're on bond. Looking at your, both of these offenses occurred at the same, location, right? Gonna need to give him a copy of this here. Oh, make a copy of that for us. So, Ms. Segura, we're gonna reset, Mr. Joseph cases. Now, how, you gonna give him a standard, reset? Be a 30-day reset?
Yes,
Is that
sir.
sufficient?
That should be fine.
I'll keep it on the pretrial conference docket.
Okay, it'll be August 23rd.
Okay, your case is gonna be reset August 23rd. You can get your reset, and then, by the time you get your reset, sign for your reset, I should have the bond conditions here to go over with.
Thank you, Judge.
You can stand right there. Your attorney is gonna get, he has to sign. I don't think you sign. Let me see. Do you live at Avery Trace? That's where you live?
Yes, sir.
So, both these offenses occurred in that area. Okay, now, Mr. Joseph, what you just been handing out is a document that's titled Standard Bond Conditions and County Court at Law Number 2, and it states following arrest and/or accusation of, well, in County Court at Law Number 2 of Jefferson County, Texas, all bail bonds executed for release of any defendant named here and are orders subject to the following additional condition. Number 1, the defendant shall not commit no offense against the laws of this state, any other state, or against the United States. Do you understand that condition? Condition number 2, the defendant shall submit to testing for drugs and alcohol at any time as directed by the court. The court may revoke the bond and order the arrest of any defendant who A, refuses to submit to a test for drugs and alcohol when directed to do so by the court, or B, submit to a test for drugs and alcohol and the test indicates the presence of drugs and alcohol in the defendant's body. Do you understand that condition? Condition number 2, the defendant shall not communicate either directly or indirectly with the alleged victim of the pending offense. The defendant shall not go near any residence, school, or other location frequented by the alleged victim. Do you understand that condition? Now, condition number 4 does not apply. Mr. Joseph, if you violate any one of these bond conditions, your bonds can be revoked. Warrant will be issued for your arrest. You can be placed in the Jefferson County Jail. Do you understand that? All right. Now, Mr. Joseph, your attorney has reset your case August 23rd, 2021. Stay in contact with your attorney and your bondsman. You're free to go and you have a blessed day.
Thank you, Judge.
Just make sure you adhere to those bond conditions, and your attorney can explain that to you fully if should you need explanations. All right. Grayson is not here. Mr. Do this here, if I'm not mistaken. Sanchez? Okay, Carlos Sanchez? Okay, we on the record in cause number 326056, State of Texas versus Carlos Sanchez. Is that your full name, Carlos Sanchez?
Yes, sir.
How you doing, Mr. Sanchez?
Pretty good. How about you?
Oh, I'm doing fine. Mr. Sanchez, you're here represented by attorney, that's Leonard DeRosa?
That's correct.
How you doing, Mr. DeRosa?
I'm doing great, Judge.
Okay, that's good. Now, Mr. DeRosa, your case is on the pretrial conference docket. You have an announcement you'd like to make?
Well, Your Honor, we had reached a plea deal on this and had actually done the paperwork last time they were in court.
Right. And I think I had to do some research.
I believe that's what.
Right. Yeah, well, I did do the research. Okay. And Mr. DeRosa, I found the case. Let's see. Tweedy versus State, 10 Southwest 3rd, actually was out of Dallas, that basically states that, let's see.
Yeah, I'm sorry, what was the name on that?
The case of Tweedy is TWEEDIE versus State,
Okay.
10 Southwest 3rd, 346, and it's out of the Texas Court of Appeals.
Okay.
In Dallas.
I thought you said Tweety, like Tweety.
Yeah, well, I
I was like, I must not be hearing right.
Yeah, but yeah, it is. But I think we was here the last time, and let me get the code provision. I think it was under 45.
One was 45, the other one was 27.
Yeah, yeah. I think it was 45. It's 42. I'm trying to get the right code provision that deals with, yeah, it is. Okay. On the 45.4.0426, and you talk about the filing and perfects appeal. It's dealing with a Class C. Case. It says when the appeal bond has been filed with the justice or judge who tried the case not later than the 10th day after the date the judgment was entered, the appeal in such case shall be held to be perfected. And I think what we did was we found out that it was filed 10 days later, but there's another code provision, and that code provision is 27.
2714.
Yeah, let's see. Yeah, 27, well, it's 2714B. But in that code provision, what it does is, this was an old case that was prior to the new code. They had to, it was recodified.
Right.
And so basically in this case, it says with that code provision, it's extended 30 days from the time that the person get notice of the bond amount. And then either, it don't say whether in writing or but from that time, once they get noticed, then they get 30 days, and you got 30 days in which to file. And I think the issue was when we looked at this case, first we noticed that it was filed 10 days after the initial, the judgment.
Correct.
But then, and if you can correct me if I'm wrong.
Judge, it used to be that the bond amounts had to be in writing. Now they can be verbal or in writing.
Yeah, but I mean, I had to, get something. I think you had provided me with, I don't think you did. I think we looked in the court's file. Could you pull a copy of the judgment and the appeal bond?
And this is for Mr. Campbell.
Oh, yes. It's, you should have a copy of the judgment. You should have a copy of the appeal bond
Okay.
that was filed. And then it may be some additional paperwork in between, maybe a letter from you to them, to the court, and the court to you.
Correct.
Right. But I think when I looked at it, I realized it was, when we looked at it the last time, it was within that 30-day time frame, if I'm not mistaken.
That's correct.
But see, what I had to do was, the code on the Tweety was 45.0425A45, and that was recodified from Article 44.14. 28.14 is what Tweety had identified, the 30-day extension came in. And so basically, the only thing they did was change the numbers, but the law is the same, is what I'm saying. Okay. This is the judgment. The judgment was from Collins, and that date was the 26th of March of 2020. Your appeal bond. Yeah, oh yeah, this, okay, there was another little one that was a little different. The judgment seemed like you filed the appeal bond prior to the judgment for some reason.
Well,
I don't know.
what happened is I send a letter under 27.14 and I changed the plea at that point.
Okay, I think what happened was the case was heard on January 14th of 2020. I'm just going by this here. But he didn't sign the judgment
Till later.
till March 26th of 2020. You see what I'm saying? So what I think, and I'm just trying to figure out, because it reads the judgment and the guilt, the judgment was on one day, but it wasn't signed and entered until March the 26th of 2020. I don't know how that happened, but I'm just looking at the paperwork. But I do know you had filed an appeal bond. Apparently you was appealing something that had a judgment that had previously occurred. And that, I don't know if that judgment was from, well, we don't have a judgment date. We just had when it was heard, but it wasn't signed and entered until the 26th. So the problem is, we got to before a judgment.
Well, what they require is a notice of appeal, where we have to change the plea from not guilty to guilty.
Right.
And then they send us the bond amount.
Right.
Whenever they send the bond amount, then we have 30 days.
I know, but they said apparently probably before he signed the judgment, because that's what I don't understand.
I don't know what they did in the court, but I think what.
Do you see these, Mr. You want to look at the paperwork?
No, I've seen it.
Mr. Shearer, you need to look at the paperwork? You've seen it?
I have access to it.
I'm trying to figure out how we should proceed on it.
I think it's based on the fact that I changed the plea. And then at some point they sent me the bond amounts, and then I filed the bond, and then he signed the judgment.
Your Honor, I'm looking at what says notice of appeal bond amount that was issued by Judge Collins.
Well, I don't have that.
On February the 20th.
Do you have that? Notice of appeal bond amount, is that in the file?
If it is, it would be under a correspondence. Let me check.
Judge, and this is not the first time that I've seen this happen where.
Well, I've seen stuff that kind of, it's out of order. It's not, yeah, I'm looking for it in a.
Yeah.
I'm not seeing it.
You have a notice of appeal about?
It was a letter sent.
Oh, here it is.
You got it? Okay, she has
Let me
it.
print it.
See, that was the problem. Everything is out of order. Okay. Okay, so they sent a notice of a. When did you send yours in?
Yes, Your Honor. Let me see how it was issued as on the 20th of February.
No, I'm just checking for this 21. mean, if I'm counting, yeah, I mean, you got it on, yours is on the, oh, yeah. Okay, yeah, according to that rule, it states that, um, let's see, 27, 20.
I also think there's another rule that says if you give an appeal in open court, it's only 10 days. But if you do it under 2715, you do it by mail.
Right, right. 27, 14. Oh, here it is, right here. 2714, yeah. The court shall notify the defendant either in person or by regular mail of the amount of the fine or cost assessed in the case. Information regarding the alterations, well, alternatives rather, to the full payment of case. Information regarding the alternative to the full payment of any fine or cost assessed against the defendant if the defendant is unable to pay the amount and if requested by the defendant. The amount of an appeal bond that the court will approve, except for otherwise provided in this code, the defendant shall pay any fine or cost assessed or give an appeal bond in the amount stated in the notice before the 31st day after receiving the notice, which gives you, I guess, a few more days. I don't know, this notice was it e-filed?
No.
The
Yeah.
JP courts are not gonna e-file because they're not courts.
They sent it by fax?
Fax or email.
Fax, okay, but in any event, he's still under the gun. He
I just.
about 2 days, yeah. Yeah,
You know,
so, okay.
I was having an issue with another court, and you as the appellate court can allow an amended bond
Right,
if it's, timely filed.
right. Okay. So, so on the hearing, okay, you're under the gun on that one. So I have y'all, I think we are able to proceed.
We're ready. We have an agreement.
Yes.
Okay, are they signed up?
We attempted to, but he had signed up back.
So the last time we were here, we did the paperwork, and then you decided that you wanted to research it.
Yeah, that's not gonna be, you'd have to get with MIS to see if it's still saved somewhere.
It's somewhere because he doesn't come up on the tablet, even though he's on the
Yeah,
docket printout. It's not.
Oh,
on the
she can see it. But let me do this here. I'm gonna go ahead on and, Mr. Adams, you have a case?
He's here.
Okay, okay. Derek Hardesty?
He's here.
Okay, yeah, y'all could just have a seat. Mr. Sanchez, we'll come back. Derek Hardesty,
He's here.
you come up. This is a case that was transferred. We're on the record in cause number 323-375. The case is styled State of Texas versus Derek Michael Hardesty. How you doing, Mr. Hardesty?
Doing good, how are you?
I'm doing fine, Mr. Hardesty. You're here represented by your attorney, Langston Adams. How you doing?
Doing well, Judge.
That's good. Mr. Hardesty, do you have, excuse me, Mr. Adams, do you have an announcement for the court?
Yes, he wants a trial.
Okay, okay, we're gonna give you a trial setting. Oh, this is an appeal. Okay. Okay, just have a seat when the court coordinator come back in. She'll give you a reset. You'll be free to go, and you'll be free to go as well, Mr. Hardesty. Y'all have the best days.
Thanks, sir.
Okay. Oh, we got Mr. Rojas. Mr. Lane. Frederick Washington. Okay. Uh, Mr. Lane, Mr. Washington earlier, he didn't answer this time. We'll have to come back to him. You may try to make contact with him.
Yes, Your Honor. I just got off the phone with him. He should be right outside there. And I will call him again.
Okay. Who do we have next? Mr. Rojas. Mr. Rojas?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you have Jonathan Roberts?
Jonathan
That's
Roberts, my understanding was that case has already been reset, Judge.
Well, yeah, it's gonna be reset. That's a jail case.
I think I also have an Adam Soul.
Okay. Adam Soul? This is Washington. Okay, just have a seat. Call Adam Soul.
What's the name, sir?
Adam Soul. We're on the record in cause number 328730, State of Texas versus Adam Soul. Is that how you doing, Mr. Soul? That's good. Mr. Soul, you represented by your attorney, Charles Rojas. Mr. Rojas, how you doing?
Doing well, Your Honor. Thank you.
That's good, Mr. Rojas. Mr. Soul's case is on the announcement docket. Let's see if he has bond conditions. You have an announcement you'd like to make in Mr. Soul's case?
Yes, Judge. I know Mr. Soul also had a felony case in the criminal district court. I believe that case may have been reset this morning. We would ask that this be reset to the same date as a felony.
Was your felony case reset? Oh, okay. He says he's not aware of it being reset.
Yeah. It's set on June 23rd.
Oh, that's the day after tomorrow. Oh. Okay, this case is set on, his case is set on Wednesday.
His felony case is set on Wednesday?
Right.
Okay. I would ask that at least we reset this to Wednesday or maybe for a couple of weeks to see what happened with that felony.
Because that's the initial setting docket is set for on Wednesday.
Okay.
So it's going to
Does
be
he have bond conditions?
Who? This one?
Mr. Soul, he does? Okay. Okay, Mr. Soul, are you working?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What we can do is we can keep it on the same date, keep it from coming down here so many times, if it's.
Okay.
Okay, so we're gonna just reset it to the same day of the felony. What that means is, when you come to court, you're gonna report here to the bailiff, and then go down the hall, take care of that, and then come back here and let us know what that date is, if the case has been reset. Okay, so you're gonna come back here again Wednesday. All right, stand over there in front of the court coordinator on that X on the end. Your case is gonna be reset to June 23rd. Once you get your reset, you'll be free to go and you have a blessed day. Okay. Yeah, hold on a minute. Ray?
And I think that's all I have, Judge. May I be excused?
Yes, you may be excused and you have a blessed day.
Thank you, Judge. You too.
You're welcome. The court or the clerk says that the paperwork, they don't have it. You would have to fill it out again.
Okay, but the tablet that lists everybody that's on the docket, his name's not on there. So it's apparently an IS issue.
The defendant's name is not on there?
No, he's on the docket,
He's on
but
the
it's
paper
not,
docket, but
yes,
not on
but it's
the
not on the tablet.
Okay,
I know.
okay, we're gonna have to call MIS.
I'm on the phone with them.
Okay.
Are y'all having technical issues too?
Well, it's.
We need to
Mr.
find out.
Sanchez, he's not on the tablet. He's on the docket, but he's not on the tablet.
Yeah, he's on the docket, but he's not on the tablet.
My tablet just crashed.
Oh, wow. Okay. What, Sergio Torres, you come forward. We're on the record and calls number 327-686, case style State of Texas versus Sergio Eduardo Torres. Mr. Torres, is that your full name?
Yes, sir.
How are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you.
That's good. Mr. Torres, you're represented by Attorney Wright Kimler. Mr. Kimler, how are you doing?
Good.
That's good. Mr. Kimler, you have an announcement you'd like to make on Ms. Torres?
Ready?
You'd like to keep it on the trial docket?
Yes.
Give us a trial date.
December 6th.
Okay, gonna be reset to December 6th of 2021. Once you get your reset, Mr. Kimler, you'll be free to go.
Thank you.
And Mr. Torres,
That's just a thought.
Okay.
It worked for me last week.
We're on the record in cause number 328254, the case of style of state of Texas versus Dominique Grayson. Ms. Grayson, how are you doing? Ms. Grayson, would you please raise your right hand? Ms. Grayson, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth so help you God?
Yes.
Ms. Grayson, you may put your hand down. Ms. Grayson, you're here represented by your attorney, Mr. Bruce Smith. Mr. Smith, how are you doing?
Fine, Your Honor, how are you?
I'm doing fine as well. Thanks for asking. Ms. Grayson, the information in this case alleges that on or about September 6th of 2020, while you were in Jefferson County, Texas, that you committed the Class B misdemeanor offense of failure to identify a fictitious name. Ms. Grayson, do you understand what you've been charged with?
Yes, sir.
And to this charge, Ms. Grayson, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest? Now, are you pleading no contest freely and voluntarily?
Yes, sir.
And are you pleading no contest because you do not wish to fight or contest the charges?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, now, Ms. Grayson, I have before me a document that is titled the misdemeanor plea admonishment. Well, let me back up. You said you was pleading no contest, is that correct?
Yes.
And you plead no contest freely and voluntarily?
Yes.
And are you pleading no contest because you do not wish to fight and contest the charges?
Yes.
Okay. Now, Ms. Grayson, I have before me a document that is titled the misdemeanor plea admonishment, also labeled as State's Exhibit Number 1. Ms. Grayson, do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
On page 2 of the same document, Ms. Grayson, there's a set of initials on a line that's next to a box that's checked nola contendere, which means no contest. Are these your initials?
Yes, sir.
On the next page of the same document, Ms. Grayson, there's a signature at the top of the page that's titled defendant. Is that your signature?
Yes, sir.
And on the next document, Ms. Grayson, there's this document is titled trial court certification to defendant's right of appeal. Do you recognize this document? Is that your signature on this document?
Yes, sir.
And at the top of this document, there are 2 boxes that's checked. The first box states that this is a plea bargain case and you have no right of appeal. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
The second box states that you're waiving or giving up your right to appeal. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
I have before me another document that is titled the discovery certification. Do you recognize this document?
Yes.
Now, Ms. Grayson, these documents that I just mentioned, Ms. Grayson, did you have an opportunity? Well, did you read these documents?
Yes, sir.
Did you understand what you read?
Yes.
And did your attorney go over these documents with you?
Yes.
And did you understand what your attorney went over?
Yes.
And is everything in these documents true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Yes.
State, I have before me State's Exhibit Number 1, the misdemeanor plea admonishments. State, you also like to offer State's Exhibit Number 2, the probable cause affidavit.
Yes, Your Honor.
Any objection? No objection. State's Exhibits Number 1 and 2 are admitted. Attorney Smith, you advise and counsel Ms. Grayson. Is there any evidence that she is currently mentally incompetent to stand trial?
None, Your Honor.
Ms. Grayson, your attorney Smith has advised and counseled you. Are you satisfied with his representation?
Yes, sir.
Has he provided full, effective, and competent legal representation?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Smith, I will accept your plea of no contest. I will find that you are mentally competent to stand trial. I will also find that your plea of no contest and waivers were freely and voluntarily given. I will also find that there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. State, do we have a plea bargain agreement?
Yes, Your Honor.
What is that agreement?
It's for a $500 fine plus court costs.
Ms. Grayson, the state is offering that you that you pay a fine of $500 plus court costs, and the total fine and court costs is $792. Ms. Grayson, would you be able to pay that today?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Grayson, do you understand the state's offer?
Yes,
You think that the state's offer in your case is fair and just?
yes, sir.
And do you accept the state's offer?
Yes.
Okay, Ms. Grayson, I'll follow the plea bargain agreement that you have entered into with the state. Ms. Grayson, you can stand on the X next to your attorney and follow the directions of our clerk. Once you finish following those directions, and you'll be free to go. And you have a blessed day.
Go ahead and get your right thumbprint on that blue light. Remove it and place it back down. And place it down, Jim. That's it. Copies of your commitment today, one is for you to bring to the sheriff's office to pay your fine. And then this is just a copy for your records. Okay? And that's good to go.
Frederick Washington. We're on the record in cause number 3254470. Case is style the state of Texas versus Frederick Joseph Washington. Your full name is Frederick Joseph Washington. How you doing, Mr. Washington? I'm doing fine. Mr. Washington, I see here that you're represented by your attorney, your attorney, Kevin Lane. Mr. Lane, how are you doing? Something must be wrong with your video, Mr. Lane. Mr. Lane. Mr. Lane, can you hear me? Mr. Lane, can you hear me?
Good morning, Your Honor.
Okay, I think that said good morning, Your Honor. You're kind of breaking up. My
video not working? Yes, Your Honor.
It's working now.
Can you hear me?
Your voice is working. I think your video
Can
is
you hear me?
stuck.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you. Now, Mr. Lane, Mr.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, I apologize, Your Honor. I maybe bad internet.
Yeah, okay. Now, Mr. Lane, Mr. Washington is here.
Yes, okay.
Is in person. You're appearing via Zoom. Mr. Lane, you have an announcement you'd like to make in Mr. Washington's case? Mr. Lane.
Your Honor, and I need one more announcement that he has a pending DWI. We have all. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Problem with the, okay, I apologize. Another announcement date, please. He got a brand new DWI, and I'm going to represent him on that. If we could just have one more announcement date.
A brand new DWI.
It's pending. It was received on October 20th, 2020.
Well, we got a problem. I'm looking at some bond conditions that Mr. Let me get this to and print me another copy. I'm looking at some bond conditions that Mr. Washington. Let me hand this to you, Mr. Washington. Give me a copy. Mr. Lane, can you hear me?
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Can, Your Honor? Yes, sir.
Okay,
I'm clear.
Okay, now, I'm looking at some bond conditions that Mr. Washington was given back on, February 11 of 2020.
Yes, sir.
Okay, when was the new case? Well, if it's new, it had to occur after this case. Okay, so he has some bond conditions. Condition number one. It says, "Them shall not commit an offense against the laws of this state, any other state, or against the United States." His bond, he's violated his bond conditions. Okay. Mr.
Well,
Lane.
Your Honor, I know he's being accused of that. Of course, we're contesting that, and I don't know what type of evidence that the court's going to require as far as a hearing on any motion to.
And I'm also looking at these bond conditions where he was supposed to attend, well, ASAP and ASAP, you know, it seemed like this might have been the pandemic. I don't know whether or not they still had ASAP or ATAR, but if he did not attend those, any one of those, that would be a violation of his bond condition as well.
That's correct, Your Honor.
Yeah. So I need to find out. We can find out. Doesn't take us that long to find out whether he did or did not attend.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. So I'm just gonna have him to have a seat in the jury box right now.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Let me do this here. We're gonna have to get some information on this here. Are you in your office or are you near the police?
No, sir. I'm out of the office. I got held up by a train, so I had to go. Sorry, I had 10 different clients over in drug court, Your Honor, and but I will be waiting for you to return to his case.
Okay. All right. That's fine. Oh. Ryan.
Yes, sir.
Are you here on Terry Allen? That case, that person is in jail.
Yeah, Your Honor,
And it's
I
been
went
reset to July 26th.
down- Okay, yeah, I went down to jail, they told me that.
Okay, was that the only case? Wait, it's another one. No, yeah, no.
We had 2 more.
Are all of them in jail?
No, sir, well, one other, Negretti, he's being reset. He's got a companion felony.
Negretti?
He's actually gonna have his MPOP today.
Negretti.
Armando? He's on my tablet.
It could have reset it. I mean, I don't know.
I think they did reset that one.
Yeah, Negretti?
Oh.
Yeah, it is set to that. That's a jail. Normally on those jail cases, you don't have to come to court because they're in jail, they're not in court.
Okay.
And they on the docket for criminal district court. Right. Do you have another?
Yes, sir, I have a plea on Naftali Garcia.
Okay.
That's on the pretrial conference first page.
Okay. Garcia.
Yes, that's right.
Neftali Garcia. We're on the record in cause number 326946, State of Texas versus Neftali Garcia. Mr. Garcia, would you please raise your right hand? Mr. Garcia, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth so help you God? You may put your hand down. How you doing, Mr. Garcia? You doing fine? Mr. Garcia, I have before me an information that alleges that on or about June 8th of 2020, while you were in Jefferson County, Texas, that you committed to class A misdemeanor offense of driving while intoxicated. Second, Mr. Garcia, do you understand what you've been charged with?
Yes, sir.
And to this charge, Mr. Garcia, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, no contest? Now, you pleading no contest freely and voluntarily?
Yes, sir.
And are you, let me do this here, let me back up. Now, Mr. Garcia, before I get to your plea, let me do this. The information in this case alleges that on or about February 7th, well, the information further alleges that on February 7th of 2019, in County Court at Law number 3 of Jefferson County, Texas, and cause number 317003, that you was convicted of the misdemeanor offense of driving while intoxicated, and that conviction became final before the commission of this offense. Is that true?
Yes.
Now, to the offense of driving while intoxicated, second, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, no contest?
No.
Now, you're pleading no contest freely and voluntarily?
Yes, sir.
And are you pleading no contest because you do not wish to fight or contest the charges?
Yes,
Mr. Garcia, I'm gonna show you what's been marked as State's Exhibit number 1. Do you recognize this document? On page 2 of the same document, Mr. Garcia, are these your initials?
Yes, sir.
On the line that's titled Nola Contendere, which means no contest. And on the next page of this document, above the line that's titled Defendant, is that your signature? And Mr. Garcia, I have another document here that's titled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Right of Appeal. Do you recognize this document? Is this your signature? Now, there are 2 boxes above this signature. The first box states that this is a plea bargain case and you have no right of appeal. The second box states that you're waiving, which means that you're giving up your right to appeal. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
And Mr. Garcia, I have another document here. This document is titled Discovery Certification. Do you recognize this document?
Yes.
And is that your signature above the line that's titled Defendant?
Yes, sir.
Now, Mr. Garcia, prior to signing and initialing all of these documents, did your attorney go over these documents with you?
Yes, sir.
And did you read and understand everything in these documents?
Yes, sir.
And is everything in these documents true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Yes.
State, I have before me State's Exhibit number 1. State, you like to offer State's Exhibit number 1?
Yes, Your Honor.
And State, you will also like to offer State's Exhibit number 2, the probable cause affidavit?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Matuska, do you have any objections?
No objections, Your Honor.
Okay, no objections. State's Exhibits number 1 and 2 are admitted. Mr. Garcia, you've been advised and counseled by your attorney, Mr. Matuska. Are you satisfied with his representation?
Yes, sir.
Has he provided full, effective, and competent legal representation?
Yes, sir.
And Mr. Matuska, you advised and counseled Mr. Garcia. Is there any evidence that he is mentally incompetent to stand trial?
No, sir, Your Honor.
Okay, Mr. Garcia, I will accept your plea of no contest. I will find that you are mentally competent to stand trial. I will also find that your plea of no contest and waivers were freely and voluntarily given. I will also find that there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. State, do we have a plea bargain agreement?
Yes, Your Honor.
What is that agreement?
The terms of that agreement are 90 days jail, probated for 15 months. It's a $1,200 fine, 100 hours community service, DWI repeat education course, drug and alcohol assessment, ignition interlock device, and also 72 hours jail up front.
When is that to begin?
We put tomorrow by 6 p.m.
So it's beginning to tomorrow, June 22nd by 6 p.m.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Garcia, the state is offering that you serve 90 days in Jefferson County Jail. However, that jail time of 90 days will be probated for 15 months. During the 15-month probationary period, you'll be required to pay a fine of $1,200 plus court costs of $417, which comes to a total of fine and court costs of $1,617. You'll also be required to pay probation fee of $60 for each month and a urinalysis fee of $15 each month. You'll be required to pay the Jefferson County DWI education class and the initial evaluation fee of $125 on the day of the plea. Should a further evaluation be needed, you will be required to pay an additional $50. The total monthly installments that you will be required to pay in this case is $195. Mr. Garcia, would you be able to pay the $195 each month? And Mr. Garcia, you will be required to perform 100 hours of community service, attend the DWI education class and have a drug and alcohol assessment, attend the DWI intervention, which is stands for DWI repeat offenders course, install the interlock device on any vehicle that you own or operate, and you would have to serve 72 hours in the Jefferson County Jail to begin on June 22nd, 2021 at or before 6 p.m. You also have to adhere to the other standard terms and conditions of probation. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Mr. Garcia, now, are you a U.S. citizen? You're a U.S. resident? Now, Mr. Garcia,
We reset this last time so he consult with an immigration attorney. He has
he consulted with an immigration attorney?
two, actually, but mainly one.
Is that correct? And I'll just read to you what's in State's Exhibit Number 1. It says, if you, not a U.S. citizen, or plead guilty, or no continuing may result in your deportation, exclusion from admission to the country, or denial of naturalization of the federal law. Do you understand that?
Yes.
And are these your initials on State's Exhibit Number 1, NG?
Yes.
And the initials acknowledge that you read and understood everything in this document, and that everything in this document is true and correct to the best of your knowledge. Is that correct? Okay. So, Mr. Garcia, let me repeat. You understand the state's offer?
Yes.
And you think that the state's offer in your case is fair and just? Do you accept the state's offer?
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Garcia, I'll follow the plea bargaining agreement that you've entered into with the state. Mr. Garcia, please stand on the X next to your attorney. And once you finish in here with the clerk, you'll be free to go and you have a blessed day.
No, I think that's all right. I think that was my last case.
Okay, you're free to go as well, and you have a blessed day. On the record in cause number 329238, State of Texas versus Oliver Norman. Yes, we have Mr. Norman. Is Mr. Norman here?
Yes.
Would you come forward?
Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Jones. Okay, Mr. Norman, your full name is Oliver Norman?
Yes, sir.
How you doing, Mr. Norman? Okay, well, I guess we all had that, but we're here today, and that's a blessing. So, Mr. Norman, you're here represented by your attorney, Mr. Theodore Jones. Junior?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Johns, how you doing?
Pretty good, sir.
That's good. Now, Mr. Johns, you have an announcement you like to make in Mr. Norman's case?
Well, I just lost a felony court there, which is a felony. This case is a component of the felony court there, and Miss Ashley Mulvaney and Mr. Luke Nichols have requested that I talk to them. They've been kind of tied up with it. I've tried before. That honestly, I would like to get a reset on this one so that I think I could be able to dispose of both cases at the same time. It's kind of indicated to me that it's very possible that there may be some deferment in the felony case to your jurisdiction here, and I need to talk with them prior to announcing in this case.
Okay, how much time do you need?
Well, I think 30 days would be okay because I'm gonna try to be expeditious on it, and that's what they're gonna do. So we have to be back in court with them in 30 days. So
Do you have the court date?
no, they didn't set the court date. They're gonna email it to me.
Okay, what we normally do, we can set it on the same day if that's what you prefer, or we can set it on a different day.
They reset it to July 26th.
They just put it in there, July 26th.
You want it on that day? or-
Yes, sir.
Okay, we're gonna reset it to July 26th. Mr. Jones, you can get your reset. Once you get your reset, you'll be free to go.
Yes, sir.
And you have a blessed day. And Mr. Norman, once your attorney give you reset, you'll be free to go as well, and you have a blessed day. You can stand over there and just get your reset.
See you on that first one. Where you're sitting. Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay, you're welcome. We're on the record in 3 cases. First, and all 3 cases are styled the state of Texas versus Cherish Lawrence. First case is cause number 327158. Second case is cause number 329744. And the third case is cause number 329748. Ms. Lawrence, would you please raise your right hand? Ms. Lawrence, do you swear? Your other hand? Yeah. Okay, Ms. Lawrence, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God? Okay, you may put your hand down. You're welcome. Ms. Lawrence, how are you doing? You doing all right? All right, now, Ms. Lawrence, when you speak, you have to speak up because
Yes, sir.
she's taking a record.
Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. 58. Now, Ms. Lawrence, in your first case, which is cause number 327158, the information alleges that on or about May 19 of 2020, while you were in Jefferson County, Texas, that you committed the Class B misdemeanor offense of theft. You understand what you've been charged with?
Yes, sir.
And to this charge, Ms. Lawrence, how do you plead? Guilty? Not guilty, no contest. Now, are you pleading no contest freely and voluntarily?
Yes, sir.
Hold on a minute. The paperwork says guilty. Now, you pleading guilty? Okay. Now, Ms. Lawrence, are you pleading guilty freely and voluntarily?
Yes, sir.
And are you pleading guilty because you're guilty?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Ms. Lawrence, I have before me a document that is titled Misdemeanor Plea Admonishments, also labeled as State's Exhibit Number 1. You recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
On page 2 of this same document, Ms. Lawrence, are these your initials on the line next to the box check guilty?
Yes, sir.
On page 3 of the same document, Ms. Lawrence, is this your signature above the box that's titled Defendant?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Or the line that's titled Defendant? And Ms. Lawrence, on the next document, which is titled the Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Right of Appeal, you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
Is that your signature above the line that's titled Defendant? There are 2 boxes checked at the top of this document. The first box states that this is a plea bargain case. You have no right of appeal. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
The second box states that you are waiving, which means you're giving up your right to appeal. Do you understand that?
Thank you. Yes, sir.
You understand that? Okay, now, you have a discovery certification?
Right here. Inside these 3 spots here. Yeah. There's a different one here.
Yeah, that first case.
I'm getting him ready.
Okay. Ms. Lawrence, I have before me, did she finish? A document that is titled the Discovery Certification. You recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
Is this your signature above the line that's titled defendant?
Yes, sir.
Now, Ms. Lawrence, prior to, Ms. Lawrence, prior to signing and initialing these documents, did your attorney go over these documents with you?
Yes, sir.
And did you read and understand everything he went over?
Yes, sir.
And is everything in these documents true and correct
Yes, sir.
to the best of your knowledge? You gotta date this.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was leaving that for you, Judge.
State, I have before me state's exhibit number 1. State, you like to offer states 1?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, any objections?
No objection.
No objection. State's exhibit number 1 will be. No objection. State's exhibit number 1 will be admitted. Mr. West, you advise and counsel Ms. Lawrence. Is there any evidence that she is currently mentally incompetent to stand trial?
No, Your Honor.
Ms. Lawrence, your attorney, Mr. West, has advised and counseled you. Are you satisfied with his representation?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Has he provided full, effective, and competent legal representation?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Ms. Lawrence, I will accept your plea of guilty. I will find that you are mentally competent to stand trial. I will also find that your pleas and waivers were freely and voluntarily given. I will also find that there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. State, do we have a plea bargain agreement?
Yes, Your Honor.
What is that agreement?
It's for 90 days, probated over 1 year, a $500 fine, 40 hours community service, a theft class, and that is to run concurrent with clause number 329744 and clause number 329748.
Okay, Ms. Lawrence, the state is offering that you serve 90 days in the Jefferson County Jail. However, you would not have to serve any time in the Jefferson County Jail on this case because you'll be placed on probation for 1 year. During the 1 year probationary period, you'll be required to pay a $500 fine plus court costs, and you'll be required to pay $15 each month for your analysis fee, and you will be required to reimburse the court-appointed attorney's fees of $250. Should a further evaluation, you're being reimbursed $250. Now, the total monthly installments that you'll be required to pay is $115. Ms. Lawrence, would you be able to pay the $150 each month? $115 a month in this case?
Probation, you said?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Would you be able to pay that? That's what I'm asking you the
Yes,
question.
sir.
Okay, you will? Now, Ms. Lawrence, you also be required to perform 40 hours of community service, attend a theft class as a condition of your probation, This probation will run concurrent with cause number 329744 and 329748. You would also be required to adhere to the other standard terms and conditions of this probation. Ms. Lawrence, do you understand the state's offer?
Yes, sir.
You think the state's offer in your case is fair and just?
Yes, sir.
Do you accept the state's offer?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Ms. Lawrence, I'll follow the plea bargain agreement that you have entered into with the state. Now, Ms. Lawrence, I have another case here. This case is titled, well, this case is styled the state of Texas versus Sheriff Nicole Lawrence. And is that your full name?
Yes, sir.
And the cause number is 329744. In this case, the information alleges that on or about March 15 of 2021, while you in Jefferson County, Texas, that you committed the Class A misdemeanor offense of evading arrest detention. Do you understand what you've been charged with?
Yes, sir.
And to this charge, Ms. Lawrence, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, no contest?
Guilty.
Now, you pleading guilty freely and voluntarily?
Yes, sir.
And are you pleading guilty because you are guilty?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Lawrence, I have before me a document that is titled to the misdemeanor plea admonishment, also labeled as State's Exhibit Number. Okay, this document, State's Exhibit Number 1. Do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
On page 2 of the same document, are these your initials on the line next to the box check guilty?
Yes, sir.
On the next page of the same document, is this your signature above the line that says defendant?
Yes, sir.
And on the next document, which is trial court certification of defendant's right of appeal, do you recognize this document? Is that your signature above the line that's titled defendant? And there are two boxes checked at the top of this document. The first box states that this is a plea bargain case. You have no right of appeal. Do you understand that? The second box states that you're waiving or giving up your right to an appeal. Do you understand that? Now, I also have before me.
Need a date, both of those, Your Honor.
Mhm.
Need a date, both of those.
Oh, that's the one we're on now. I have another document, Ms. Lawrence, that's titled the discovery certification. You recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
Is that your signature above the line that's titled defendant? Prior to signing and initialing these documents that I just mentioned, did your attorney go over these documents with you? Did you read and understand everything in the documents? And is everything in these documents true and correct to the best of your knowledge? State, I have before me State's Exhibit Number 1. State, you like to offer State's 1?
Yes, Your Honor.
Any objections?
No objection.
No objection. State's Exhibit Number 1 will be admitted. Mr. West, you've advised and counsel Ms. Lawrence, is there any evidence that she's currently mentally incompetent to stand trial?
No, Your Honor.
Ms. Lawrence, your attorney has advised and counseled you. Are you satisfied with his representation? Has he provided full, effective, and competent legal representation? Ms. Lawrence, I'll accept your plea of guilty. I will find that you are mentally competent to stand trial. I will also find that your plea of guilty and waivers were freely and voluntarily given. We'll also find that there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. State, do we have a plea bargain agreement?
Yes, Your Honor.
What is that agreement?
It's for 180 days over 2 years, a $500 fine, and 40 hours community service. And that's to run concurrent with clause number 327158 and 329748.
Okay. Ms. Lawrence, the state in this case is offering that you serve 180 days in Jefferson County Jail. However, you will not have to serve any time in the Jefferson County Jail on this case because you'll be placed on probation for 2 years. During the 2-year probationary period, you'll be required to pay a fine of $500 plus court costs of $342, comes to a total of $842. You'll also be required to pay a probation fee, in this case, of $60 each month, a urinalysis fee of $15 each month, and you will reimburse the court-appointed attorney's fees of $25 to the Jefferson County, Now, your total monthly installments in this case is the same amount, is the amount of $115. Would you be able to pay the $115 in this case each month?
Yes, sir.
All right, now, you'll also be required to perform 40 hours of community service. And you will have to adhere to the other standard terms and conditions of this probation. And this case will run concurrent with cause number 327-158 and cause number 329-748. Now, Ms. Lawrence, do you understand the state's offer? Do you think that the state's offer in your case is fair and just? Do you accept the state's offer? Okay, Ms. Lawrence, I'll follow the plea bargaining agreement that you have entered into with the state. Now, Ms. Lawrence, your last case that we have here is cause number 329-748. And the information in this case, Ms. Lawrence, alleges that on or about March 15 of 2021, while you were in Jefferson County, Texas, that you committed the Class A misdemeanor offense of resisting arrest, search, transportation. Ms. Lawrence, do you understand what you've been charged with?
Yes, sir.
And to this charge, how did you plead?
Guilty.
And are you pleading guilty freely and voluntarily?
Yes, sir.
And are you pleading guilty because you're guilty?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Ms. Lawrence, I have before me State's Exhibit number 1. Do you recognize this document? Which is the misdemeanor plea admonishment. On the next page of the same document, are these your initials on the line next to the box that's checked guilty?
Yes, sir.
The next page at the top, Ms. Lawrence, is a signature above the line that's titled defendant. Is that your signature? You have to say yes or no.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And on the next page, well, the next document is trial court certification, defendant's right of appeal. Do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
Is that your signature above the line that's titled defendant?
Yes, sir.
2 boxes checked at the top. The first one says that this is a plea bargain case. You have no right of appeal. Do you understand that? Second box states that you're waiving or giving up your right to appeal. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
And before me, I also have the discovery certification. Do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
And is that your signature on the line that's titled defendant?
Yes, sir.
The second line. Now, prior to signing and initialing these documents, did your attorney go over these documents with you?
Yes, sir.
And did you read and understand everything in these documents?
Yes, sir.
And everything in these documents true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, sir.
State, I have before me State's Exhibit number 1. State, you like to offer State's 1?
Yes, Your Honor.
Any objections?
No objection.
No objection. State's Exhibit number 1 will be admitted. Mr. West, you advising counsel, Ms. Lawrence, in this case as well. Is there any evidence that she's currently mentally incompetent to stand trial?
No, Your Honor.
Ms. Lawrence, your attorney has advised and counseled you in this case. Are you satisfied with his representation?
Yes, sir.
Has he provided fully effective and competent legal representation?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Ms. Lawrence, I'll accept your plea of guilty. I will find that you're mentally competent to stand trial. I will also find that your plea of guilty and waivers were freely and voluntarily given. I also find that there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. State, do we have a plea bargain agreement?
Yes, Your Honor.
What is that agreement?
It's for 180 days over 2 years, a $500 fine, 40 hours community service, and that's to run concurrent with cause number 327-158 and 329-744.
Okay, Mr. Lawrence, the state is offering that you serve 180 days in Jefferson County Jail. However, you will not have to serve 180 days in jail in this case because you'll be placed on probation for 2 years. During the 2-year probationary period, you'll be required to pay a fine of $500 plus court costs of $342, which comes to a total of $842. You also be required to pay a urinalysis fee of $15 each month, and you'll be required to reimburse the county of court-appointed attorney's fees of $25. the total monthly installments that you'd have to pay on this case is $55 a month. Ms. Lawrence, would you be able to pay the $55 a month? Okay, now, Ms. Lawrence, also, you'll be required to perform 40 hours of community service. In this case, we run concurrent with cause number 327158 and cause number 329744. And you would also have to adhere to the other standard terms and conditions of this probation. Ms. Lawrence, do you understand the state's offer? Do you accept the state's offer? Think the state's offer in this case is fair and just? Do you think the state's offers in this case fair and just?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Ms. Lawrence, do you accept the state's offer?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'll follow the plea bargain agreement that you've entered into with the state. Ms. Lawrence, please stand on next to your attorney, follow the directions of the clerk, and then Ms. Lawrence, I think that she have a warrant was on these cases?
Those two cases, so how does that work? Do they get recalled by you?
Yeah, they get closed out.
Can I get your right?
Okay,
thumbprint on
so
that
you'll be
one?
free to go.
Alrighty, thank you. You can remove that.
Do we know?
Right. Okay, and then I'm gonna need her.
Oh, hell no, no.
Ms. Lawrence and Mr. West, I'm gonna need y'all signatures a couple of times.
We're gonna sign. Yeah, I think we're just gonna get stuff together.
All right, I'm
At least we're
gonna.
not cuffed together.
Thank you.
Yeah, hold on. Okay, thank you. You have a good day as well. Okay. Y'all finished with her?
No, I.
What's going on?
All right, now, Ms. Lawrence, we're gonna start with your signature first. You won't be able to see it, but I will.
I see you have a dismissal in your hand.
Yes, Your
And
Honor.
Mr. West?
What case is?
This is the Carlos Sanchez that we were talking about. He's lost in the system somewhere in the computer.
All right, and now.
And
we'll get your
Mr.
signature.
Sanchez